Hi guys, welcome back to Hair Dry Treatment. I'm absolutely buzzing to say I'm joined by Ricky again tonight. Ricky, how are you doing this evening?
Very well indeed. Thanks. How are you, Soph? You okay?
I'm all right. I'm all right. After that result the other day, obviously we'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm okay, not too bad. Have you calmed down yet?
Can't. Yes, sort of. Yeah, I can't get over it, to be honest. But calm down.
Yeah, I mean we'll get straight into that, to be honest with you, because this is the first chance I've had to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I saw your fan cam. I saw you at high rate, like a lot of us fans were. It was frustrating, but PSG, how would you summarise that game? Because we did have plenty of chances, didn't we?
We did have plenty of chances, Soph, but I mentioned. I can't remember if I mentioned it straight after the game or the next day. I saw Ollie's interview after the game, and he sounded like a fan talking about the game rather than a professional person. He said, when I saw the team sheets, you can look at those two team sheets and think, you can see that there's going to be goals in this game. Well, I don't want to bang on too much like I did the other night, but to actually think like that is completely unprofessional. We 0-0 would have done us. So, and then he's talking about it as if he's happy to see two team sheets that's going to see plenty of goals. We needed to see two team sheets where there weren't going to be any goals. That's what we needed to see. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know you're not in control of their team sheet, but I don't think the right way around trying to nullify them scoring or trying to prevent them from scoring plenty of goals is for us to try and score plenty of goals. I think it's completely the wrong way of going about it.
Yeah, I think for us defensively as well, we know how suspect we have been. I never fully trust us at the back, to be honest with you. I mean, when we played up to the first time around against PSG, we had Tuanzebe in there, we had Luke Shaw in contention. This time around, I just never trust us at the back. I never trust that we're not going to concede a goal. And I think that's what's more frustrating. The fact that we had the chances, we didn't put them away. And it could have been so different. It really could have. A lot of talk about Martial, but I think a lot of people forgot the Bruno chance in the first half when he could have hit it first time and he tried the little fancy layoff. There's many players. Martial, obviously, because he hasn't scored much this season, I think he's the first name that comes up. But Anthony Martial, Ricky, I know you're a big fan of him. Obviously, he missed chances and him himself will be disappointed, I'm sure. I mean, West Ham, do you think he can bounce back in this game? Are you confident that he will bounce back? Because it's a lot to take, isn't it, for a centre forward who isn't scoring, barely had any shots on target, to miss chances like that as well in the game so big. I mean, his head will be down, won't it?
Yeah, he's going to be gutted. He hasn't scored, of course, and he did miss a sitter. But I've watched the game back, and which I do all the time. You know that. And and you look. I was about to say, I'm going to say this because I like him no much. I'm not saying it because I like him no much. I'm saying it because I've watched it. It is possible to miss a sitter and still play quite well, just as it's equally possible to score a goal having not played so well. And I've watched the game back, and Martial had a decent game, and everybody is saying how terrible he was. I don't think I've heard a person say that Martial wasn't terrible. He did miss a sitter, and there's no excuse for missing that sitter. It was a shocker, it really was. But just a few things that I can mention that you will. I mean, there's lots of other stuff, but if you look at our goal, he beats a man brilliantly on the edge of the box. It's a cracking shot. The keeper saves it. It goes to Wan-Bissaka, who cuts it back to Rashford, who scores, or it deflects in. Is he still credited with that goal?
I believe so. I didn't think it was going to be, but I believe so, yeah.
But, that goal came partly because of Martial's skill and his shot from the edge of the box. It was a great piece of play. In the first half, he put Rashford in. I don't even remember this one. It was really early. It was just before they scored. But he put Rashford in. What would have been a chance if Rashford's touch would have took him towards the box. But Rashford's touch somehow, can people see me?
It slowed down, didn't he?
Somehow went to the right a little bit, and he had to chase it a little bit and then cut towards the box. Having to run around the houses, if you like, he still ended up in the box with the ball at his feet. So imagine if he would have gone straight forward. That was a pass by Martial. He also put a great ball over the top to Bruno, and I thought Bruno. I always criticise Bruno for shooting too often, but when he should have shot, he tried to pass it instead.
Yeah.
And then it was also Martial who put Cavani through in the second half when Cavani hit the bar. And there's lots of other little things as well, little nice touches, control, turns, passes. Martial had a perfectly decent game, except he missed a sitter, and I was gutted for him. Now, because you know what I think of him, and because that I like him that much, because each time I see him play, he plays like that, if you like. You know what I mean? So probably, if he plays tomorrow at West Ham, which I think he will, he might well play the same again, and he might well miss a chance again. And if he does, I'll feel sorry for him. He deserved a goal the other night for the way he played, but it just didn't happen for him.
You mentioned that Cavani miss. I mean, the chip. I want to say hi to Flawless is in the chat. GT and SR and Marcus are both digging up the background. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Guys, hit the like as well if you're enjoying the content. But yeah, Cavani, that chip. I just wish that gone in. I mean, for his own personal, obviously, reasons, being against PSG. A lot of people saying his legs have gone. To finish that, I mean, the audacity to try it in the first place. But if that would have gone in, Ricky, I think I'd have lost my mind. I mean, Cavani's playing well, isn't he?
I like Cavani. He looks absolute class. His back heel to we just spoke about the
Rashford.
His back heel to put Rashford into position there to pass it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
It's just his hold-up play. He's an intelligent player. He's proven he can finish. But to try the chip from where he was as well, he knew that he didn't have the legs, obviously, to beat the defenders. He went for the chip, and I thought he was so unlucky. It wasn't like a clear-cut chance, he was miles out, and he went for it. And I just wish it had gone in. I woke up I didn't wake up thinking about the Martial because, of course, that was frustrating. But I woke up about thinking that, because that would have been a special, special goal at Old Trafford as well. What a goal that would have been. But I mean, would you stay with that formation? Would you stick with Martial out wide still and play Cavani through the middle? Because I personally enjoy seeing that, and Rashford on the right, front three. I like that going forwards. I mean, Ricky, would you say that's your favourite front three at the moment? I know you're a fan of Dan James. You want to see more of him. Obviously, there's Greenwood as well. Against West Ham, what would you start going forwards?
What would I start? That's it's a tricky question, that, Soph, because what I'd start is virtually always the same, but he's got no chance of starting. So there isn't much chance of me. There's a much point in me saying what I'd start. I'd start Juan Mata on the right every day of the week. Every day of the week. Now, Rashford's got his shoulder injury, and I saw Ollie at lunchtime saying that he trained today, but not fully. I can't remember the exact phrase he used. He sort of partially trained or something, and then had treatment afterwards, but did say he'll be fit to travel. I just got a feeling he might keep him back for Tuesday night. Now, by the way, my team wouldn't change. I'd pick the same team tomorrow, and I'd pick the same team on Tuesday. We need consistency. Ollie was asked about consistency today, so we do need a bit of consistency. But anyway, what I think Ollie will do, I think Rashford will rest tomorrow, and I think he'll play Tuesday. So that space on the right, if we play in that formation, I mean, we don't have to bring another attacker in. He might well play the diamond tomorrow. I mean, Fred's not suspended for tomorrow, is he? He might play Fred.
No. Yeah.
I'd play the same 11 tomorrow that I'm going to play Tuesday, so I wouldn't play Fred tomorrow either. But I don't think he'll see it like that. So I think McTominay and Fred will both play tomorrow. And it might be in a diamond. I mean, Van de Beek was unlucky to get left out the other night. So Ollie might be under pressure, feeling a little bit under pressure to put him back in. So if Van de Beek plays, it could be McTominay at the base. It could be Van de Beek to the right, Fred to the left, and Bruno at the point, couldn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got Pogba as well. Don't forget he came on the other day. Looked decent when he came on. That volley, again, another effort, which I thought he caught that so clean. He caught it so clean. He was unlucky. It's going to be interesting to see what Ollie does do. We have obviously the important game midweek next week as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've not been doing great in the league, so both games are vitally important, aren't they? So we've always said about squad depth. I know it's important. I think these next two games are going to show that a little bit. But Van der Beek, you mentioned him. I thought when he came on the other day, he looked sharp again. He's just such a tidy player, such a good technical player, and I'm hoping we see more of him. I think he deserves to start against West Ham. Thank you to Baz for the super chat. He says, "Love the shows, Rick." So, what's your thoughts on just going back to a 4-4-2 and using Matic and Bruno as the centre mids? Bruno and Matic is a flat two in the midfield. Ricky, how would you feel about that?
I'm not sure it suits Bruno really. He likes getting fought.
Yeah, he's a bit of a head of chicken, isn't he?
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the formation you're going to play. I mean, I like 4-4-2, and I don't mind people saying 4-2-3-1 because in 4-2-3-1, for me, two of the three have got to be players who track the fullbacks back. So it's more or less, it's more or less 4-4-2 for me, 4-2-3-1. Like for example, just think of it like this. For example, if it was Bruno and Matic as the two, which is what the lad's asking about.
Yeah.
Then your three, I suppose the one in the middle of the three would be Van der Beek, and then to the right it could be Rashford, and then to the left it could be Marshall. It's still Rashford and Marshall who have got the job of tracking the fullbacks. So if it isn't the same as 4-4-2, I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? I don't see.
I agree.
I don't see the difference. So if you was going to play either 4-2-3-1 or 4, if you was going to play 4-2-3-1, I would say the only position for Bruno really is the centre of the three. If you're going to play 4, I don't see him as one of the two holders, because he's going to get forward too often and leave you short in defence and leave you short in midfield. Really, you know what I mean? So I don't do that, no.
I think even for a 10, you'd say Bruno plays a bit too high sometimes, doesn't he? He is a bit of a headless chicken, but he's such an intelligent player and he does pick up the spots. But obviously you have to be patient and understand he does give the ball away a lot. But I do think he's not disciplined just to sit there. I agree with that. He would just be off and he'd just leave gaps everywhere in that middle. He'd be vulnerable. But I want to say thank you to Baz for the super chat. Really do appreciate that. We go back to the midfield for a second. PSG, I know you've already said quite a lot about this on the United stand, but I want to touch on it, the whole Fred situation. I quite often sit and I defend Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and say I'm not Solskjaer out, but simply for that, I can't defend him. It's inexcusable what he did. For me, Fred, a player who was walking a tightrope, let's face it, he should have been off after that head, but his card was marked. He should have gone at half time, shouldn't he? Surely there should have been a change made. We had plenty of midfielders on that bench. Ricky, sum that situation up.
I don't know where to start, Soph. I do not know where to start. There's so many things wrong with his decision. There's just, I'll probably forget a couple. I'll name a few. First of all, the booking was after 20 minutes. So if you've got any player on a booking after 20 minutes, he's got 70 minutes to go without getting a booking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. That you know, no matter what player. Maybe if it's a player who rarely gets booked or rarely goes into physical challenges, I suppose if Rashford got booked in the first 20 minutes, you wouldn't have to think twice about it. But if you've got any defender or midfield player getting booked after 20 minutes, so that's the first thing. You've got to think, wow, we've got 70 minutes to go here. So straight away, you're on a knife edge through that. But then add to that it is such a tenacious player, and his job is to go into tackles in the middle of the field. Then sometimes you see him snapping into one challenge, the ball springs off, and he's snapping into another challenge before you know it. So that's another thing. It's not just a player who's on a yellow card. It's a player who's on a yellow card who you're expecting, probably even more than your defenders. You're probably expecting Fred to make more tackles than anybody else in the team. And he's on a yellow card after 20 minutes. So that's the second thing. The third thing is, it wasn't a normal yellow card. If you're refereeing that game and you go and look at the screen and then you see him put his head in, you know deep down that if you don't think it should be a red, you know that a lot of people are going to be saying, trying to give him a red. The referee is going to feel under pressure. So this is a third thing now, you know. So the referee is going to feel under pressure, and he might be looking for that opportunity to give him a second yellow. If you've played football, you've got to appreciate this. I said this to one lad who said to me, yeah, but the referee's already looked at the screen and decided that it's a yellow. I know he has, but he's also going to think to himself, even when make no mistake, that referee would have been thinking, look, I just said it's like more than a yellow. There's plenty of yellows, probably 90% of yellow cards, where there's not even a question of could it be a red. It's just automatically a yellow. This is not just in the 10% where you're thinking, oh, it could be a red, really. This is probably in the top 2%. And the referee's going to know that. You know, it could so easily be a red. So he's going to think, I've let him off once, even though he's booked him. He'll have it in his mind that he's let him off once. So this is like a third thing. The next thing, now I'd have subbed him. Look, with what had happened and with so long to go, I'd have subbed him within the next 5 minutes. That's what I would have done. Yeah. So here's the next thing. You've got the likes of Matic and Pogba and Van der Beek on the bench. It's not like you've got to replace him with Pereira or Lingard. We've come on since them days, haven't we? Do you understand what I mean? So, you know, you're not having it. I mean, to me, this isn't really relevant. This is a bit unfair. For me, I'd have Matic in the team in front of him anyway, so it's a bit unfair me saying that. But Matic does get plenty of games in that position. You know, I don't think anybody I mean, Fred's dominated that position for a good few games now. But if this game was only literally 2 months ago, people wouldn't be surprised to see Matic play instead of him. You wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. So how has he come so far up and how has Matic gone so far down that you're prepared to take that gamble of, it doesn't, he might get sent off, but we've got to play a ready-made replacement. And now, I kind of keep going on about this, Soph. Do you mind?
Carry on, yeah. Listing them off.
We've got 5 subs now available to us, and it's normally I can understand you not wanting to make a sub after 20 minutes if you've only got 3 subs. Yeah. It just goes on and on and on. And then I'll finish with this one. So there's about 4 or 5 reasons there. If you add them all together, then on top of that, okay, he doesn't sub him instantly. I'd have subbed him within the next 5 minutes. On top of that, he then makes a foul in the first half still, over in the left back spot. He got a free kick given against him. If I was the manager, well, never mind me being the manager, I'm only a fan. I had my heart in my mouth. He's not going to give him another yellow straight away. My heart was in my mouth. 5 minutes after that, there was a right challenge on it. I think it might have been with Verratti. There was a right clash on the halfway line, and their player box. I think it was Verratti. I can't remember.
I think it was past. Parades, the one who we had the incident with. Yeah.
So he got a yellow card. Now, if I was the manager sat in the stand and I saw that yellow card, you can't tell from that stand who's made the foul from that challenge. You're watching and you're thinking, wow, that's a bit of a clash. When that yellow card comes out, my heart would have been in my mouth. Do you know what I mean? And they have to give it to their player. How on earth he can think to himself, I'm not going to take Fred off now after that, he'd be on me. And if this bit, again, is barely relevant. But if you watch the replay, I'm saying it's barely relevant. I'm not sure whether the referee gets a chance to see replays. I'm not sure. I don't know. Can the referee look at a screen while he's in his dressing room at half time? I don't know. But if you look at that replay, he trod on that player's foot. That could have easily gone to Fred instead of their player. Yeah. So it's just exasperating, Sophie, and it's just inexplicable how he could leave him on. And that's why I blew my top, and I'm not far away from blowing it again now.
Every point you've just made, I completely agree with. I think if you played football as well, even as a player alongside, you're going to be nervous that your CDM is on a yellow card. And like you've mentioned, he's one of these. He's always at your ankles, Fred, isn't he? He's always giving away free kicks. That's his game, to break the play up. He's always going to concede stupid fouls, and he will eventually get a booking. That will happen. And I think the fact that he was playing against likes of Neymar, the likes of Paredes, they're going to play on that. They are going to target him. And every time he goes in for a challenge, whether he gets the ball or not, they're going to be rolling around the floor. We know what it's like. Yeah. And I was thinking, a game of that magnitude, it wasn't a risk that we needed to take. And it did affect, overall, it did affect the game. It affected the balance. Before we came out second half and we looked on the front foot, we looked like we could get a goal. Obviously, Martial had his chances. And then this happened, and it just changed the balance of the game. PSG's towels were up, obviously. But I just think it was an unnecessary. I think I left it to half time, and I'd have made the change at half time, so it gives you time to have a chat with whoever's coming on. Because obviously, like I say, it's a big game. It's a big magnitude game. And I just don't understand why that risk was taken. And like I say, PSG aren't stupid. They're going to play on that as well. And they did play on that. But yeah, it was hard to defend what Ollie did, to be honest with you. Strip Bear, thank you for that super chat. As a mighty Chelsea fan, I adore football. Watching United just makes me cry with sadness. Remembers United of the oldie days. We all feel the same. Trust me, we all feel the same. And I saw someone else saying, so you want to sub everybody who's on a yellow. It's not everybody. Like Rick said, if Rashford was to do that, you'd be less worried about it, because it's unlikely he's going to go flying into challenges and pick up another yellow. But Fred, he is that tenacious player, and I love that about him. Don't get me wrong, but it is a risk, particularly on a yellow card, against players like that who will play on it, definitely.
Yeah, if whoever's just said that, if you just listen to me rant what I've just said, it's not just that. You know what I mean? He was on a yellow and a half, wasn't he, in a way? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's just, and like I say, as a player playing alongside Fred, you'd be terrified as well. Surely they know as well, like, it was coming. That red card was coming. We could see it from a mile off. And it's just, and Fred, obviously, like you say, he's not playing to his full potential as well, because he can't go around nipping ankles and flying into challenges like he does do. And it affects his mentality as well. So I just think the safest thing would have been to do that. But it's happened now. We move forward. You just
mentioned another point that I didn't even think of, and I'm sure there's plenty of others. But in a way, if you've got to say to Fred, be careful now, don't go into challenges, it's hardly worth having him on the pitch, is it? That's what he's there for.
That's what he does. Yeah, that's what he does.
Sorry.
Exactly.
Let's move on.
Well, that's happened. To be fair, I wouldn't even say I was that angry. I was angry about the Fred situation, but I wasn't angry about the result too much because I felt like we created enough chances. It's simply us just not putting them away, and that's something that we need to improve on, and we know that, and we got punished for not doing that. I'm hoping though it doesn't dampen our spirits too much because obviously another big game against West Ham at the weekend. I said off camera just I hate playing against West Ham. Always feels like one of them games, and I just don't feel confident going into it. I'm going to be real. I'm hoping that we bounce back and we've got the spirit. Likes of Bruno managed to lift. Ollie gets the team selection right, which is massive as well. But Ricky, how big is this game for us this weekend? We're away, which does probably help us, but there are going to be some fans in there, I believe.
Yeah, they've got 2,000 fans there, haven't they? I don't know how much that'll make, really. I know Ollie said today that he'll help our players as well to feed off the energy of their fans, I think he said. Look, every game in the league's massive for us.
Yeah.
If we happen to go out of the Champions League on Tuesday night, we've got to be up there. I mean, at the minute, I hate saying this because obviously I feel like I'm tempting fate, but at the minute, you can't deny that we sort of, I'm using the word sort of just to soften it a bit, we're sort of in a championship title. We're in a title race at the minute. It's 10 games gone. It's not really 3 games gone. If we win our game in hand, we're 2 points behind them, 2 points behind the leaders. So there's no point denying it. I mean, look, if we're still 2 points behind the leaders with 20 gone, people will say, so at what point do you say, oh, we're definitely in a title race? I remember the year Leicester won it. I think Leicester were top of the league after they sort of played 28 games and people were still saying, oh, it never be them. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
As you tick the games off one by one, you need to still stay in it. So this is vital for us. It's absolutely, and obviously, and look, before the ball was kicked, I think anybody in the right mind would have happily said, I'll take top 4. Beating City or Liverpool to the title is, it's almost an impossibility, if I'm honest, really. But
nothing's impossible.
It's not impossible. But at the minute, we're 5 points behind. We've got a game in hand. As the longer we can keep it like that, the better. So it's absolutely massive for us. Massive.
It is a massive game. A horrible game, like I said. I just hate playing there. I hate it. I don't know why I just get that horrible feeling every time. Baz, thank you for the super chat. He said you could play any formation, but it's how you coach the players to play and the tactics you play with. This is Ollie's problem. He's afraid to lose rather than trusting his own team to win. I think that's a good statement. Would you say that? Would you think Ollie's... I mean, for me, you have to be defensive kind of first because you build on from that. Pressing from the front, for example, I think is something that we need to work on. I think you see so often teams press us and we struggle to play it from the back when they do that. When we seem to do that to other teams, it's like we go in 1s and 2s. I don't know if you see this, Ricky, but we don't seem to go as a unit. Occasionally we'll do it. Like, for example, the first game against PSG, I felt we did that. It worked. But we don't see that consistently. And do you think that does come down to Ollie? I know you mentioned that Ollie, you compared yourself. If someone else was the manager and not Ollie the other night, we'd have had a better result. Do you think that is where Ollie struggles tactically?
I didn't say we would have had a better result, so if I said we'd have had a better chance.
Chance, yeah, my bad. Yeah, chance, sorry.
I don't care who the manager was. I don't care who said it. If somebody would have took Fred off at half-time in that game, we'd have had more chance of getting the result out of the game. That is a fact, absolute fact. But it's gone now, that isn't it? Getting back to the tactics. I can't remember exactly what he said. It was Baz who asked that question, was it?
Yeah.
I don't agree that he's setting up. The first bit I agreed with. The second bit, I don't agree that he's setting up. Is it on there again now?
There you go.
It's how you coach the players and the tactics you play with. I agree with that. Is he afraid to lose rather than trusting his team to win? I don't agree with that. I'm exactly the opposite to that. I think we're playing with too many forwards. I really do. Martial's not bad at it. I don't think Rashford gets behind the ball well enough. Cavani's a centre forward and he's actually playing at centre forward, so you can't blame him. And Bruno, if he's a midfield player, he's the most attacking midfield player you could think of. And he's more or less playing as a number 10. We've got too many players who are so attack minded in the team. So he's not going out there not to lose. He's going out there to win. But to me, we've got attack-minded players in the team who maybe not quite as good as some people think they are.
Yeah, I think and so often we've seen us trying to accommodate players, haven't we? And try and put round pegs in square holes. If you like play players out of position and just putting them there just to try and fit them in. If you like accommodating players, and I think that's something with playing players in their right position. You mentioned Cavani, then centre forward is playing centre forward, and so far so good. I'm really impressed with what I've seen from him. hoping we see more again this weekend. But I think it's that, like, trusting players in their positions. Don't have to play players out of position. Like Van der Beek's a good example. Where is his best position? For me, I love seeing him deep in midfield. I know it's probably can't happen every game, but the way that he was dictating the play, always looking to pass forwards, I just think he's great on the ball, and I want to see more of that. But I think that's what Ollie needs to work out. Our best formation, because that's still up in the air. But also players' best positions. What is the best system? And I think that's why Ollie does deserve criticism tactically, because it's 2 years in. You have to say, do we have that system at the minute? We don't. But it's an interesting one. We constantly seem to be getting a bit of confidence from the results we get, and then we dip in again. That lack of consistency. The players have to take some of the blame for that as well, though, don't they, Ricky? It's not all on the manager. Like certain games, for example, I felt like we haven't been up for it. West Ham is always a tricky one, like I've mentioned. I'm hoping that mentally we are up for this one. Be honest, Ricky, how confident do you feel going into this?
I say this every time I'm on any show, so I always like to wait and see what the lineup is. If he picks the right lineup, I'd be quite confident, but we'll see his lineup, won't we? I'm not, what's he going to pick? Like I just said, I think he'll pick Cavani. I think he'll pick Marshall. I'm not overconfident that we can win it, but I know we can win it. I know we can win it without a doubt. Someone's just put up there. Van der Beek must start. He must start for me as well. We're gonna. This is going to go on and on and on. It's going to be non-stop for me. Van der Beek's position is number 10, without a doubt, and he's good in midfield. And look at the way he plays the game. He's got a great way of playing the game. When no matter what position you're in, he can play at full back and play, first touch is good, always aware of who's around him. Doesn't matter what position you're playing in. If you've got a good first touch and you can see where the nearest players are, if you're alert. I've seen him, he's got this thing, he's got like a radar, the ball can come to him that way, and he seems to know that
he's always scanning.
He takes a touch and he passes it with hardly looking. He knows that where the man is that he wants. I saw him pass to Rashford on the wing. He'd already looked. He knew where he was. I saw him play one in field to someone. I think to Fred against Southampton. Just quality play where he takes a touch while he's looking that way and passes it as he turns. He's a top quality player. But we could do with him a bit further forward, and that bit further forward is Bruno's position, and we're never going to. I don't know when we're going to sort of hear the end of this. Look, there's room for them both in the team. I have said in the past there's no room for them both in the team. What I mean by there's no room for them both in the team, I've got no doubt in my mind that Bruno's best position is number 10, and I've got no doubt in my mind that Van der Beek's best position is number 10. So when I say there's no room for them both in the team, somebody has got to have his nose pushed out of joint a little bit, and players don't like that.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned, is it? Playing players in their right position, not having to accommodate players. That's a problem at the moment with Van der Beek and Bruno. But I agree. I do think that there's space for both of them in the team. Both really technical players. I like the fact that they're always looking for each other. And we need those risk takes on the pitch. I've mentioned before, I think often we're too safe passing sideways. I think Van der Beek and Bruno bring that risk factor. Yes, in particular, Bruno might give the ball away a few times, but he's always trying something positive. Van der Beek is a lot more composed in that sense, but he is always passing forwards, and I do like that. Thank you so much for the super chat. He says, quite agree with Ricky on Mata, James and Matic. The problem is we need mid-20 versions of each. Mata for a right midfielder, James, a left midfielder, and a more experienced James is what he's saying. And then Matic as a more mobile CDM. So he's saying he wishes they were younger. He values each of them players, but he just wishes they were a bit younger. You have to agree with that. They are getting on in their careers. My dad's in the chat. He says, we'll cheer you up on Sunday when they smash that lot from Merseyside. Dad, I hope you're right. That would definitely cheer us up, wouldn't it, Ricky? We'd take that. Because my dad's there to discuss Wolves as well. What was your thoughts on Wolves this season? Because they're not being as good, obviously. I want to send thoughts out to Raul Jimenez as well, wishing him all the best in his recovery, because that was such a horrible incident the other day. But
I hope he's all right, yeah.
It was horrible, wasn't it? And he's such a great player as well. I know we spoke about him before, such a great player. But what do you think about Wolves? Have they got a chance there against Liverpool?
Yeah, they've got a chance. I'm not convinced Wolves look quite as convincing as they were last season, but they've
changed in the way they play, haven't they? Since losing Jota and that, they've changed how they play.
Yeah, they're still looking a top side. I mean, how much they're going to miss Jimenez, I'm not sure. They've signed this young lad who's did he sign him from Porto? I think he's only about 19, and he
Fabio Silva, is it something like that? Yeah,
I think so. He come on as a sub at Arsenal, didn't he? When he got injured. I've got something I want to say about that thing, by the way, about that injury that he got. I've seen this all too often on a football pitch. What referees and probably lots of fans don't gather if you've not played the game is when you see a late tackle, when the ball's on the floor and somebody comes in for the late tackle, everybody can see a late tackle. And I've seen plenty of situations, like I played a lot of football, only amateur level, but it's still the same. When you go for a header, you know if you've got a chance of winning that header. 9 times out of 10, you know if you've got a chance of winning that header. And I see too many players going in the air recklessly when they haven't got a chance of winning that ball. And I thought it was the case in question with David Luiz the other night. Any Arsenal fans who are watching, I'm not picking on anybody's players. I'm really not. I watch a game with open eyes, Soph, no matter what team it is. I don't favour players because, there's plenty of players who play for United that people think, I won't name any names, people think are great and I think they're pretty poor. You know what I mean? So I've got any punches. And I thought that should have been a red card. I don't think he had any chance or any right to go for that ball. And I thought it should have been a red card. And I think there needs to be some classes taken by referees to be able to watch for this. There's certain times when you're going for that ball in the air, the man who's coming in behind you hasn't got a prayer of winning it and goes through with his challenge.
Yeah, you see on keepers as well. Sometimes, don't you, the keepers just take the lot. And sometimes they'll wipe out centre forwards. I think that's a similar one as well, with no care for who they're going to hit and whatnot. I think it does need to be looked at, but in particular with head injuries. I mean, you see the situation all the time as well with the centre forward where they're chasing down, the keeper comes out to claim the ball and they push the defender into the goalkeeper just to try and cause a mistake or something, which can also lead to injuries. You've seen it. Yeah, I do agree. It's a bit of a dodgy one because Raul Jimenez, you'd say his career has been threatened by such a horrible incident. And of course, David Luiz meant to cause such an injury. I'm not saying that, but it's clumsy, isn't it? And
don't be careful. I'm not suggesting for 1 second that he realises what's going to happen.
Yeah, just clumsy.
But he should know that he can't win that ball, and he shouldn't be making that challenge.
Yeah. In terms of West Ham, is there any players in particular? I mean, Antonio was one that I said, but it looks like he ain't going to be playing now. But is there any players for West Ham that you're particularly afraid of? Obviously, there's Jarrod Bowen, who's been scoring quite a few lately. Like Soychek, who's a big physical presence in there. They've got Haller up front as well, another physical presence. Is there any players that stand out for you for West Ham this season?
Players you mentioned, really. Bowen looks a decent player, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He does.
I like that combination in the midfield that they've got. Rice and Souček, a solid unit. They're going to set themselves out to make themselves difficult to beat, rather than a little bit like we should have done more so against. It's interesting really when you look at other teams and then you look at United, and a lot of people say we're Man United, we shouldn't be thinking like that. When we played PSG last week or the other day, and then also when we play Leipzig next week, we should be playing against those teams like West Ham are going to play against us. That's exactly how we should be playing. So they've got Souček and Declan Rice in the middle. Do you know what I mean? Neither of them are like Bruno. Neither of them, neither of them are like Van der Beek. If you was to compare those two players to any of our players, you'd compare them to McTominay and Matic, surely. Both tall, both strong. Both hold the position in the middle of the field, keep the team shape well. Do you understand what I mean? If for example, look, we're Man United, we're hoping to make a title challenge. We're hoping to make a title. Think of this, Soph. We're hoping to make a title challenge, and you never know in the luck of the draw. In the quarterfinals, if Bayern draw City and then they draw Liverpool in the semis, we're hoping to miss all that, aren't we? There's no reason we couldn't get to a Champions League final. Now, deadly serious, all United fans here will go, what's he on about? If David Moyes had the option to play Fred as part of his pair instead of Declan Rice or Souček, do you think he'd drop Declan Rice or Souček for him? Do you think? I don't either. They're big, they're longer, they stay in position. It's an interesting point, isn't it?
I think it depends on the manager of the system, the way that he wants to play. I want to touch on Declan Rice as well, though. I think he's a quality player. I really do. He's the heart and soul of that West Ham team. You can tell he's learnt from Noble as well with the way that he leads the team. And I think he's going to be a big player for England in the future. A lot of people have said that they want him at United. I would take him at United personally. I don't know if you would. But I just think he's a great player. And like I say, he's the heart and soul of that West Ham team. So if he's playing for me, he's vital for them. He's such a good talent.
Yeah, without a doubt, he's having a good season. I think are they above us in the table, West Ham, at the minute? I think they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think
Fifth or something, I think. They're quite high up at the minute, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they are, yeah. So, but I watched them. Who did they play last? I'm sure I watched them recently. And I can't think now. But I watched. They didn't look. Last time I watched them, they didn't look quite as solid as they did the previous times that I've watched them. Anyway, I've watched them a few times this season. But he's doing a great job, boys. He's doing a great job, and they'll be up for it weekend. Getting back to what I was talking about, they're going to have Rice and Souček in the middle. They're going to try and make us go round the outside. Bowen will tuck in a little bit on that side. Is it Fornals that'll tuck in a little bit on the outside? Now, again, a little bit like what I was just talking about team shape. For example, I'm not suggesting for 1 second here, I've just said that about Fred displacing Souček or Declan Rice, which I don't think he would. But like we play Marcus Rashford as a wide right attacker, I'm not suggesting for 1 second that he wouldn't have Marcus Rashford in his team if he had Marcus Rashford to choose from. But I'm not so sure in the team shape that they play that they would put Marcus Rashford in place of Bowen, who's going to tuck in, stay back a little bit and play on that break. Rashford's more of a player who stays a bit further forward, and we're hoping to get balls over the top for him to chase, whereas Bowen probably on average plays about 15 yards deeper, and if they're hoping to get balls to him when the opportunity's there by playing like Marcus plays, you're playing more on top of their defenders and hoping for it to happen more often. Do you understand what I mean? You need to wait for that opportunity the way Bowen does. And I think we'd be better playing against teams that are better than us. You're better off playing like that. When we play Leipzig away, we need to play like West Ham are going to play against us tomorrow. That's what we need to do.
And that comes a bit, again, down to the coaching and the tactics, doesn't it? Getting players to tuck in and understand when to tuck in, when to go wide. Moyes is obviously a very good tactical coach. I know people disagree with that with his time at United, but he is a good coach, no doubt about it. And I think he's getting the best out of these players now. Look, Jared Bowen, for example, not many people knew about him. He's had, like you say, a good start to the season. It's going to be a tough game, definitely, this one. My dad said, spot on, Rick. I was impressed with United against PSG, and I know Fred got sent off, but I've not seen that aggression since Roy Keane. This kid is going to be a good player for United in terms of Fred. A bit reckless. I've had this chat with my dad before about Fred, saying he's reckless. I do love what he does in the middle, this tenacity, the way that he works. We haven't got another player like that for sure. But for me, on the ball is where Fred he suffers a little bit. He gives the ball away a lot. I think he's got the right idea. He just can't execute it a lot of times. Like his mind thinks too fast for his feet sometimes. I think that's how he strikes me. He's a bit erratic on the ball in there. That's why I love Matic in there, because he's a bit more stabilises it and keeps it ticking. That's one thing I would say Fred needs to improve on. But I do like Fred as a CDM. I love it how he is in there. But for me, it was just a needless risk to keep him on after half time with, like we've already mentioned, the likes of who we were playing against. But yeah, West Ham, I haven't said, I said I wasn't confident, but I'll never bet against my team. So that's giving you an inkling on what my score prediction is. But Ricky, what's your score prediction? I know it's hard when you don't see the lineup, but going off the back of the game the other day, the way that we're playing at the minute, have a guess.
Well, I'll have a guess. I'll have a guess that United are going to win 2-0.
2-0. Keep a clean sheet. That would be nice, guys. Get in the chat and let us know what you guys are thinking as well. Not far different from my prediction, to be fair. I was on a West Ham channel yesterday, and my prediction was 2-1 to United. I'm going to stick with that. And that's Manchester United, not West Ham United, by the way. 2-1 to Manchester United. And I've said that I think Martial will score. I've got a feeling he's going to bounce back. He's going to score, shut some of his haters up. And you can never write off Bruno scoring as well. So that's my 2 goal scorers, Martial and Bruno. What's yours? I bet you're going to say like Mata or Dan James or Matic. Hoping that they play, aren't you?
They'll be in my team. I don't think they'll be playing.
I think like we both said a tight score though. A lot of people in the chat are saying the same thing as well. It's going to be a tight one. I'm just hoping we just nick it. A few people are saying a draw, which I don't think can rule out. And Rahul, I hope that you're spot on with that one, because I'd like to see it. I would love to see that, get some revenge, put some chances away like we didn't do against PSG. But fingers crossed. But Ricky, if you can just shout out your own channel as well and let people know where they can subscribe to you, because obviously you've got content going out daily over there. So yeah, shout out yours. Yeah,
well, you can find me on Twitter, Rick the Red UK on Twitter, and you can also follow my football channel, which is the Football Philosophy channel.
Make sure you go and do that, guys. Some great content. Ricky, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. we've both gone for a Manchester United win. Fingers crossed that does work. Hopefully we get a good game. See quite a few goals. 8 goals would be nice, like Rahul said, but can't quite see that happening. But it'd be good. Guys in the chat, if you could drop a like on the video. If I have missed you in there, just drop a comment afterwards. We'll respond. Subscribe to Ricky's channel. Obviously, subscribe to Hairdryer Treatment, and we'll speak to you very, very soon.